Thank you for joining me again. So we went through the first chapter of medical terminology, and that gave you kind of the basics. So you knew what a root word is, what a combining vowel is, a combining form, a prefix, and a suffix. Okay, so the expectation now is that you understand what those word parts are because we're going to be using them. So in this chapter, this is the second chapter, we need to be able to define terms that apply to the organization of the body. So body cavities, how to locate and utilize the anatomical position and location terms. So some of this you got in chapter 7, okay, but now maybe you can kind of look more at the meaning of it as opposed to what these actually do, right? So we had cellular information in chapter 7, okay, so I'm not really going to touch too much on those now. Okay. So I'm going to start here. Okay, so we're not looking so much at like the cell, but we're looking at more parts of the body. So adipose tissue. Adipose we know means fat. Okay, so fat tissue. Cartilage, epithelial cells, which is our skin cells. Histologist, that's somebody that studies cells. Okay, histo means cell. Larynx is your voice box in your neck. Then you have pharynx. You have an oral part of your pharynx, which is your mouth, and then your nasal pharynx is your nose. Okay, so that's your oral cavity, is your pharynx. Pituitary gland. This is in your brain. It secretes a lot of hormones, the majority of your hormones in your body. Then you have the thyroid gland that produces T1 and T2 cells that combine to make T3 and T4 cells, which are important in your immunities and also your weight control. Trachea is, if you feel the front of your neck, you feel all those ridges. They feel like rings. Okay, that's your trachea. That's your windpipe. And it connects your oral cavity, your oral pharynx, to your bronchi that go to your lungs. Ureter. Those connect your kidneys to your bladder. Your urethra connects your bladder to the external world. Uterus. These are what house eggs. They do not house eggs. That's an ovary. I must be getting tired. Uterus is in between your vaginal canal and your oviducts. Okay. So from the outside of the body of your vaginal canal, you have your uterus, and then you have your fallopian tubes or your oviducts that go out to your ovaries. Okay, so the uterus, that's what actually houses babies as they grow in utero, and also it's a layer of that sheds every month that causes females to have a period. Viscera. So this is tissue relating to your organs. All right. So let's talk about body cavities and organs. So cranial cavity has your brain. Okay. So up here, that's about the only organ up there. That's the only room you have is for your brain. Okay. And your thoracic cavity, which is your chest. It's your chest. You have your lungs, your heart, your esophagus, your trachea, your bronchi, thymus gland, which is right here, your aorta. Then you have your abdominal cavity. So that's underneath your diaphragm, okay, above where your hip bones are. So that space in there. All right, so that houses your stomach, small, large intestines, spleen, pancreas, liver, gallbladder. I think that just about covers it. But then your pelvic cavity, which is at the bottom part of your abdominal cavity, right? It's separated by the height at which your pelvic bones come up on the side. So that Also contains parts of your small and large intestines, but it also has your bladder, your rectum, urethra, which is the tube that goes from your bladder out to the outside world so you can urinate, your ureters, which transport urine from your kidneys into your bladder, uterus, and vagina in the female. Okay, then we have our spinal cavity, which houses nerves of your spinal cord. Okay. All right, so we learned that the dorsal cavities are the cranial and spinal cavities, and then your ventral cavities are your thoracic, abdominal, and pelvic cavities. Okay, again, I'm just going to go really quick through this because you've had this previously. So, quick quiz. Which body cavity contains the pleural cavity and the mediastinum? Those might be two words you need to look up. Pleural cavity. Pleura are the areas around your lungs, and the mediastinum includes like your heart. Okay, it's right in the middle there. So I just kind of pointed to it. So this cavity that's right here, it's a ventral cavity. Okay. If you guessed thoracic cavity, you would be correct. Because the cranial cavity is up here. Your pelvic cavity is way down there. Spinal cavity is in the back. That really only has your spinal cord in it and your nerves. Okay, so it kind of has to be your thoracic. Which body cavity contains the peritoneum? Peritoneum. Your peritoneum is